On one faithful day in late October 2016, a little game called Battlefield 1 was released. A first-person shooter taking place on the battlefields of the First World War. Hence the name. I think. I mean, there are a lot of Battlefield games. The 1 in the title of this one has to stand for World War I, right? Battlefield 1 was a great game in retrospect. Probably the second best modern Battlefield I've played, after the third one. No, not Battlefield 2, the game that Wikipedia tells me was the third one, but the Battlefield game called Battlefield 3. And no, I have not played Battlefield 4 enough to rate it. Although it's basically just Battlefield 3 Part 2 anyways. I really enjoyed my time with the multiplayer mode of Battlefield 1. And even if the campaign was lackluster after the intro, I liked what there was there to like. Quite a lot in fact. But that intro. Oh my god, that intro. It's a 10 to 20 minute long piece of gaming I will never forget. Let me tell you why this short period of gaming goodness is in fact a masterclass in immersion. Hi, but you can simply call me Amazon. In today's video we take a look at the intro to Battlefield 1. I will split this video up into the 5 main parts of the intro. But that's it. Let's just jump into it. The game opens with a short cutscene. The cutscene starts with a warm view of a window, a bed frame in the center of the frame. The camera pans to a man laying in bed, moving quite a lot as if he's having a bad dream. A hand grabs his shoulder as the setting quickly changes. The man wakes up from his daydreaming to the horrifying reality. A burning tank sets the brown and grey stage to the chaotic and brutal play we will be acting in, to the tune of the song Dream a Little Dream of Me. A fitting name to the song playing in the mind of the shell-shocked soldier in the middle of the frame. A frankly brutal collage of violence follows, the song still playing behind the screams and sounds of gunfire and explosions. As the camera again focuses on the man, we cut to black. Now, instead faced with complete silence, except for the cinematic boom of a white text popping up on the black screen. The following text is tasteful and direct, short and the opposite of sweet. Battlefield 1 is based upon events that unfolded over 100 years ago. More than 60 million soldiers fought in the war to end all wars. It ended nothing. Yet it changed the world forever. What follows is frontline combat. You are not expected to survive. This series of texts sets the stage for the following gameplay section. No one should be here fighting a war that will ultimately amount to nothing more than sending people into a slaughterhouse. The last 2 lines are some very direct foreshadowing. We aren't supposed to win here. There's no winning condition. And with that wholesome and sweet introduction, we cut back to reality.
We're surrounded! We have to hold this line!
Battlefield 1 is the best looking first-person shooter that I've ever played in terms of pure graphical fidelity. You can, and I'm being completely serious, pause the footage that I've captured and show it to someone and convince them that it's just a picture from a movie. It's so lifelike that it immerses you in an instant. Unlike older games that use their deep mechanics or fast-paced, repetitive, but ultimately demanding puzzling like Tetris, Battlefield instead uses its graphical fidelity and lifelike audio to instantly shove you into the scenario. The game is what I would call hyper-realistic, which in as few words as possible basically means that it looks better than life. There are no things on screen that shouldn't be there. It's like a movie set. But let's get into the gameplay. You have an automatic gun in your hand and a single goal: hold the line. The gameplay in a Battlefield game has always been solid, as far back as I know. Its weapons feel great and the animations are the absolute best in class. But unlike something like Call of Duty, this game focuses on being realistic, at least to a point. Firing a gun in the Battlefield franchise is a big deal, and if you, like you should, have the volume turned up, this game will let you know what caliber you're shooting. The sounds of screeching allies and foes echo throughout the battlegrounds, muffled by the constant explosions, sometimes interrupted by the loud sound of a whistle being blown to signal an advance. A simple, yet acoustically huge piece of music sits behind it all. As you fight back the endless horde, your allies get killed one by one. Your ammo runs out with no other choice than to pick up the guns of your fallen brethren. But you will also eventually succumb, whether it will be from a stray bullet from the enemy or a badly timed assault. You will die, no matter how hard you try. A name pops up on the screen. Note the age. Young.
We came from all over the world. So many of us thinking this war would be our rite of passage, our great adventure. Let me tell you, it was no adventure.
We're transported into someone new. A huge machine gun in our hands with unlimited ammo. This is a completely different gameplay section. We're still in a defending position, having the high grounds over the trenches down below and a completely overpowered piece of metal in our hands. We mow down the enemy with so much ease, it feels wrong. Unfair even. The opposing soldiers don't stand any chance in a one-on-one against us. I often mistook my allies as the enemies here. It's pretty hard to discern them as they all look the same at a distance. Every time I did this, I felt really bad. Our reign of terror is soon stopped as an airship targets our location, at the same time as the enemy overrun us. This section is probably the one you'll die the hardest on, as flame-throwing wielding enemies swarm your location, again, eventually killing you. Another name pops up on the screen. Note the age. Young.
New killing machines, like the tank, changed the shape of the war overnight. Luckily, they were mostly on our side. Mostly.
If you thought that the MG from the last section was overpowered, just wait until you can use it on the move from the inside of an iron-shelled killing machine. Our field of view is instantly made minuscule as we get access to two new pieces of weaponry, an explosive shell and a fully automatic machine gun. This hellish tour is a great showcase of the vehicle combat found in the game, but also a great showcase of the horrors of war. Field medics carrying away a body, a German soldier walking almost like a zombie-like husk, a man sitting in the middle of a firefight, face in his hands. It's a harsh reality. Our goal is to take out a field gun, a seemingly simple task. We run right through a house, on the other side of which we see the objective. And as we do, we celebrate our newfound glimpse of victory after eliminating the target. But nothing great ever lasts in wartime. We then once again predictably die, after the tank gets bombarded. A new name yet again pops up on the screen. Note the age. Young.
Instead of adventure, we found fear. And in war, the only true equalizer is death.
The last section of the Battlefield 1 intro is an all-out war between two sides, more than any other section before it. We start in a trench filled with green gas, a gas mask being pulled over our head. It's a showcase of the reality that inhumane gases like mustard gas were, quote, not against the rules in a war, unquote. We're thrown into a section where our objective is to push past the wall of enemies. Even after dying over and over in the previous sections, this one feels actually surmountable. So we try our best, and we die. The name of the fallen soldier shows up in the center of our screen. Note the age. Young. But this time we don't transition into another place on the battlefield. We respawn into one of the soldiers we were just fighting beside. There's hope. Maybe we can push far enough to make the death of our fallen comrades worth it. But even after trying our hardest, dying multiple times, seeing the names of countless soldiers, we are hit into a cutscene. A shovel into the back of our head. A bombardment from the above.
push. We push. Every once in a while, we push hard enough that the light breaks through the clouds, and a world beyond the war glimmers, just out of reach. The war is the world, and the world is the war. But behind every gun sight is a human being. We are those people. We are the jaded, we are the naive, we are the honorable and the criminal. We are the bound for legend and the lost to history. We are the knights of the sky, the ghosts in the desert, and the rats in the mud. These are our stories.
Wow. Let's just all agree that was truly amazing. No other single game has ever, and will probably never surpass this in terms of pure quality and gameplay in the first 15 minutes of a game, to then fall so very flat. The Last of Us still has the better opening, because of the rest of the game, but if Battlefield 1 could have kept this up, I wouldn't be remiss to slot The Last of Us right underneath it. Battlefield 1 is a masterclass in intros and a masterclass in video game immersion. So what's the moral here? Well, first of all, let's get the obvious stuff out of the way. War is bad, killing other people is bad, and all the stuff you've seen in this intro is horrid. Let's instead look at the moral of the entire game as a game. The moral of the intro is pretty obvious. Every single human on this earth has a story, and none of them deserves to die. EA had a great idea here. Make every death count. Show a name of an actual soldier that died that day. There are very few heroes out there, and they all need more recognition. This concept should have been expanded upon, because that 10 or 15 minute piece of gaming is utterly perfect. A solid 10 out of 10. Sure, it's linear, but it's the best kind of linear. It's so great that I think everyone should play it. You get to experience just a little tiny bit of the very extensive pain these people did through the hard as nail gameplay, by being on both sides of an overpowered weapon in the form of using the MG against helpless enemies, and on the other side of it, getting demolished by the inhumane flamethrower. Too bad Battlefield 1 almost immediately walks back on this promise of realism and recognition of the real death of war. That might sound harsh, but almost every single campaign mission after this one has you playing a single superhero-like character killing Nazis with ease. This really hurts. This game could have been a real landmark in the World War category of games. The Band of Brothers of video games. Yet, here it stands. A great opening with an unsatisfying, contradictory rest of the game. Kind of like the fourth Indiana Jones movie. Man, I wanted that one not to suck. Thanks for watching. Fun fact, I started reading just to expand my vocabulary, which is a sentence I never thought I would ever say in my entire life. But I was inspired by my absolute favorite YouTube person, Tim Rogers of the Action Button channel. I mean, I watched a 12-hour video kind of about the game Cyberpunk twice. Also, shout out to Vacant Skull Archives, who basically took my entire Skate 3 video and condensed it into a single comment. He also happens to make some great videos on YouTube, so maybe go check him out. That's about it. I'm still in the pre-production phase of the Minecraft video, so don't expect anything anytime soon. So sorry about that. Again, thanks for watching.